Most weight loss advice assumes that you live in some kind of vacuum. It's like maybe a perfectly controlled scientific study. It's envisioning some sort of perfect world, maybe calm and peaceful, everything beautiful and entirely under your control. But what happens when your reality is different and my reality is different, when the reality of work hits and maybe our job is more like this? We're surrounded by stress and chaos and pressure. Maybe you work in a place like this, people putting out trays of treats and things that you want to eat, and you see it and smell it and you say, so hard not to have it. Or maybe you have a job like this where you're literally surrounded by and touching the food that you're trying not to think about it, but it's all around you, and the pressure and stress is huge, and you're feeling chaos and limited control over your surrounding and space. And maybe a space like that is at work, at a job, or maybe you say that is here because I am at home and I've got to do all kinds of work. I'm not even getting paid for it, but I'm making food for people. And like, we can have the same environment in so many spaces. Today, we're talking about fasting on the front lines, like the reality of it, not just stuck off in some sort of abstract space, but like, how do we move forward in real life, Got sent in a very thoughtful question from a member of our community here. We're going to be going through this powerful question. What do we do when we're stuck in a cycle of stress and eating at work, in anything we're doing in life? I'm going to give you 7 real-world strategies for trying to break out of a cycle like this, and really looking forward to the conversation. If you're here with me live, throw your thoughts in. Like Pat, happy Monday. Work making it much harder. Even if I didn't snack, food becomes a comfort and a stress reliever at dinner. Thank you for sharing that. I think you are dialed in with what many people feel. I know what I feel when we lose some amount of control in scenarios and stress is coming. It's just dialing in the pressure. Absolutely. And if that's not you, if you say, hey, I can fast at work, is absolutely the way to go, stick with me in this session, because you can take these ideas and you can apply them to anywhere where the stress is hitting in your life. So take a look at this question. Dr. Z, what advice can you give me for fasting when I get hungry and I work around food all day and my job is stressful? So I find myself eating when I'm not hungry. I want to stop this vicious cycle. Can anybody out there relate to that? Oh, yes, I think we can. Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is one of the big things. Good to know we are not alone. Sometimes you can be, in a space, everybody else is going about their day, and you think, oh, am I the only one that is feeling this way? I have to tell you, from my position, somewhat unique, having talked with thousands of people who are trying to walk a path toward it, I say it is very, very common. And just even to know that can bring some comfort, hopefully, and help us press forward. So before we take a look at tactic number 1, I want to establish a really centering thought for us in this space, which is that kind of where you're coming out of that comment, like we can develop a mindset of self-compassion and to realize that this scenario is really difficult. It's actually a huge thing that people are struggling with. And so just taking a minute at the outset to recognize, hey, this is something people are really struggling with. It's not just me, like this is collectively like a huge thing. Just taking some self-judgment away, right? We want to have compassion for ourselves, recognizing, hey, we are trying to do something really strong and powerful, difficult. just to stand up in the middle of like the most difficult environment. You say, it's like we're not by the peaceful lake in the mountains and everything is calm and perfect, right? We are in a very intense environment, and food is the type of thing, this is what makes it extra tricky. Food can help, especially in the short term, right? Doesn't it? Can't it be a tool? Say, I'm going to help deal with some stress here. And like we can feel better with it, at least in the short term. And this is what can create the cycle, because it's not like it's all negative. Positives to it. But then we say in the big picture, is a choice like this heading in a direction that's supporting our metabolic health, it is fostering our long-term goals. And if we say we isn't, if we say it isn't, then we are, having to be very strong in that moment. Just to think the thought. See, everything starts from our thought. So if we're starting in a place like this, you're here moving toward it, like Marie says, I definitely eat to de-stress from work, right? So we're going to take this sort of space that so many people working with, 7 thoughts. All right, here we go. Share your thoughts along the way on the replay, in the comments. Let's get even more thinking with it. But here is tactic number 1, where I wanted to start, which I say maybe is a curveball. I'd love to see what you think about it. Something to think about. Make sure you are climbing the right mountain. And so we are almost done with this series I've been going through. The Mountain is You. And that's where that book, really starts. You don't want to climb up a giant mountain and get to the top and realize, oh, this isn't, what I even wanted, all right? And we are trying to create a space of flow. So I'll also put this on here, always invert, right? That Charlie Munger investing quote. Try to look at things from the opposite perspective. And so before we set out to blast our way up the mountain of this, like here's, something to think about. Okay, fasting is never required. It's never forced. Okay, even here, like we're sitting here, we're on a fasting-based channel, everything fasting. But it's like, the phrase, it's like when you're a hammer, everything is a nail, okay? So, we don't have to hammer fasting. Fasting to me is openness. Everything should be flowing. And so if we are sitting in a space, it's like so much thinking is priming it. This is something I say. If you can fast at work, it can be a huge win-win. And this is kind of a classic advice. Be like, they're paying me to be here. Now I'm getting double duty. It's like getting paid to lose weight, right? If I can fast, I just get my work done. Say, we're not having dinner with people. And so there's all this momentum to say, oh, like when I'm fasting, it has to be like at this time. But if we are sitting here in a space, and maybe, this advice is probably for a specific person and not for another one, but really think about it. If this is level 10 out of 10, this is what I was thinking about. Would you agree? It's like many people say, this is one of the most difficult situations to practice fasting. And then we feel like, because so many videos and so much thinking is like, this is what we got to do, that we can just feel pressure. I want nobody to ever feel any pressure to have to do it, or like, oh, I'm failing because I can't do it. Don't walk into a level 10 space and say, I'm just going to master it and think, oh, I'm just going to flow through it. And Dr. Z says like a river and it should be easy. But then, look, what do people say? Say, oh, it's very, very difficult. And so we say, is the unlock just focus on the healthiest foods. Don't fast in the space. You don't have to do it. And then fast in a different space when you can get home, when everything can be in a much more controlled and positive and thoughtful setting. And if this is the way that things start and this is the way you build through it and you can have success with it, like you never have to feel bad. Like we're not in any kind of competition to say, oh, this person is fasting all through work and it's so awesome. See, no comparison. All that stuff I want to be gone. Yes, I like how I say it. Calm, cozy at home, thoughtful. Can you flow through that space and does it balance? See, to me, anytime I'm talking about fasting, I'm talking about healthy eating and periods of time without food. The same, everything in balance. And so for each individual person, Say, where is the optimal space? And for some people, say, I just want to fast at home where everything is calm. And some people are the opposite. Some people are like, no, home, I'm going to be cooking my food. I'm going to have those meals. We're going to have that. So just at the start, take a thought and see if, am I forcing something too hard? And could it be the case that I could bring some healthy things and I'm going to take the fasting part off the plate there, eat something healthy, going to help me get through not eating other things at work that I don't want because I brought good, healthy things that are giving me energy and nutrition, and all that could be beautiful. Okay, let me know what you think of that, and then let's keep rolling. Tactic number 2. Focus on the eating window first. So now we're going to try to kind of circumvent this. We're going to say, now the rest of these, we're saying, okay, we are trying to fast at work. We've making sure we're not forcing something, but we say, no, I really want to do it. I don't want to be eating this food that is at work. I don't want to be bringing things because, right, we said there's so many benefits. Save some money heading in. Don't have to eat out there. Don't have to buy special things and refrigerate it and prepare it. And they say, I'm just going to let fasting take that pressure off. If fasting is feeling pressure, we don't have to do it. If we say, oh, fasting is taking away pressure, I'm not even going to start eating because that can start a cycle for me. Now let's focus on the eating window. Sometimes I say, how do we start fasting? We just focus on eating. Because fasting can feel like a restriction. This is what culture says. Culture brings all these perspectives. Oh, it's normal to just be eating all the time. And so to start fasting, you see, we can feel like it's a deprivation. Now, we want to be very far away from that because what we see in the broad scope of the world is it's not normal to be eating all the time. And then we have unhealthy patterns. And then actually fasting is just showing us a natural balance that the body is designed to have periods of time of eating and periods of time without eating. But to start with, just focus on the eating and then the other stuff just disappears. You know, it's like we're not even thinking about it. And so what is the meal that we're having when we get back from work or the next time? Making sure that that stuff is optimized. Okay, if we are not eating well, then the times when we're fasting, our body is not going to have like the strong nutrition that it needs because, you know, we are built out of the energy that we give to our body, and we need minerals and nutrients and all this sort of stuff. And so it's like we don't fast forever. We have periods, especially here, simple fasting, which I basically say fasting in a day, maybe alternate daily fasting would be like a very, very intense end of simple fasting before you head on to more advanced fasting practices. And I say, why don't we just try to squeeze as much benefit as we can out of the shallow end of the pool? And that keeps solid nutrition coming in, fasting space open so we can reset the hormonal structure. So make sure you're putting the healthiest foods in the meals that we are eating that aren't at work. All the processed food getting out so that our blood sugar is not spiking and crashing. And when we're going through something like that, that can be like very unsettling. And so trying to work in a stressful environment that we say is like level 10 out of 10, you know, you want the strongest foundation possible for that. And give ourselves every advantage. So tactic 2, make sure that the food that is like outside of the time we're trying to focus on is totally dialed in. Okay, so now we've jumped through 2 things. We've said, no, this is really what I want to do. We're at work. We're trying to practice fasting. We're in the stress. We've optimized everything outside of it. Now we're going to be flowing in to the actual working space. Bridges to fasting. Here I put the video. I got fasting aids video on the channel. My best fasting aids says make fasting easier. And then I put some questions in here for you to think about. If you have go-to fasting aids before I list through these, feel free to put them in. I'd be happy to hear, but I'm going to go through these things. So I don't know if I put the quote on here. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is what I think about in this regard. If you are wanting to practice some fasting, you say, but it's difficult. We don't always have to go straight to level 10. Doesn't always have to be a perfect fasting space. You say, are there something that I can add to it to help make this? These are there. I put the quote. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We're looking for something good. If say we're stuck in a cycle, we need something good going on here. Maybe one of these is something that'll get you through better. Oh, I should have put a picture on it. My beautiful Chia lime drink. It's on the cover photo of this thing. Picture I put. Can you mix some chia seeds in water, a little lime juice, maybe a little honey or some kind of sweetener if that's something you like? That's something you can mix up ahead of time, and there would be something you got to, keep it a little bit cool is probably better. Easy to do, almost no cost. And maybe there is 40 calories in one of these when you mix it up, and you say, what if that's good enough? I guess the main thing with refrigerating, and maybe don't have to refrigerate or something, is just better, so it's better. Nice chill drink. So there's something, it's not perfect fasting, but it's tasty, it's refreshing. To me, okay, it's a thirst quencher, it's a hunger quencher, and because it's fun and it tastes good, and I always imagine that I'm on some sort of tropical space, okay, you bring that into a stressful space, it can absolutely help bridge that gap. Absolutely. And here's a couple other things that can. Any type of beverage I put in here. What are your favorite beverages if you're trying to get through a space? Sparkling water, water with a pinch of salt. For some people are big soda drinkers, and then it's mainly because you get some caffeine and that is powering you through a space. I just throw out there, go to the gas station. You can order it online, caffeinated water. Okay, if you just want a caffeine, you don't have to have tons of sugar and artificial sweeteners to get it, and you can have it in just water. You can't taste it. I'll tell you, as somebody who's had periods of time where I've had too much caffeine, like, you got to watch it. Caffeine can amp you up and make you jittery, and that can add to a cycle of stress too. So everything in its balance. But caffeine is a natural appetite suppressant. You don't need sugar to get it. Of course, the standards, my go-to, the coffee, the tea, very pleasant. If you can have something like that in a space and that gets you through, don't have to make it any more complicated than what is working for you. Love the quote, I think, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? I used to think fasts only counted if they are clean or perfect, but lemon water, 0-calorie carbonated water keeps me going longer. Absolutely, and I just think it is a perfect way to go. So if someone wants to put some lemon in something, it's like, just do it. And if you want to call that training wheels, I say call it training wheels, and maybe someday you can do it without those things. But only if you want to, and only if you need to really dial up the power on it. And you say, well, work on it. Fasting is a practice. Use all these things to help you do it and build out the skill of doing it over time, and help take the pressure off. Make it more enjoyable, should be enjoyable. Fiber supplement I used in that video, something like a Metamucil. Could be capsules if you don't like drinking this stuff, but the powder is also fine. If you can get some of that stuff down, you say, what is that? It's non-calorie, the bulk, the filler part of food. You say that can soak up some acid in the stomach. It gives you some bulk. It just hits, there are satiety sensors that saying, food has come in here. So you take a fiber supplement, you're getting water, you're getting a little bit of taste in some of it. Watch the video. I show how I mix it with just a little bit of juice with one that has no artificial sweeteners in it, no extra flavorings, because I'm trying to get as many synthetic things out. So you get bulk psyllium fiber, add a little of your own juice, and then it's like you kind of ate a meal, but no calories. You're still kind of fasting, but not really. But that can be a bridge that is like, you know, very physical, tangible. If, say, coffee's not quite cutting it for me, does a fiber supplement boost that along? And that's something, you know, throw it in a locker at work. You got some water, you can just mix it up and hit it, and back you go. And like, does that give you, you know, that feeling of some more fullness that is helping you through the wave, right? Through the stress wave, through the hunger wave. They're both crashing together. And can you put something like that in there to absorb it? Isn't that what fiber does? Just absorbs stuff. Coconut oil, I put in the video. That'd be another sort of thing, depending on the temperature. It's either solid or liquid, but coconut oil, the specific fats that are in that, very satiating. You take a little tablespoon of that and you hit that, and that is hitting a lot of sensors that are saying, oh, there is some dense calories coming in here. And it is, right? If you start binging a whole jar of coconut oil, okay, you're going to get a lot of calories. So watch the video. What I'm saying, can you take 1 spoon of it? And, you know, you're going to get under 100 calories in that. But if you hit that, so satiating, and you hit so many sensors in the body that are telling you, hey, we are getting dense nutrition here, and that is going to start the process of calming down a hunger wave. So if you can use that to get into a space, that's another sort of thing. Can keep it in a locker at work. If you're having a stress situation, you know, here is something very healthy in the right amounts that can keep you going. Say, like Marie said, is it pure fasting? No, it's not pure fasting, but it's like ultra low carb, you know, eating, and it can really keep you on track. And then broth is one of my super go-tos, and broth is like a comfort food. Don't have to refrigerate it. Throw the box, you know, in the locker, and then at work, and you can heat it up in a microwave quick, and you say, for just a moment, if you got just a minute or 3 to get in there, okay, it's warm, and you can kind of smell it, and then it's like fasting comfort food. That's what I say. It's fasting comfort food. Yeah, and so many things like in this sort of thing. Thank you for sharing. Share your favorite things to get into this space, right? Because the next one is like some sort of, you know, protein or fat-based low-carb snack. If beef gelatin is getting you in there, perfect. I put in here, like, you know, a hard-boiled egg can be thrown in a bag, nuts and seeds. You can bring this stuff on. Beef jerky, I'll tell people, make your own beef jerky at home. You can do it in an oven, on a baking rack. Just turn your oven down as low as it goes. Mine goes to 170, so I cut my little strips of cut of meat from the store, and then if I want it kind of chewy, you know, maybe I go 4 hours on it, and then you got to use it within, you know, a few days, and then if you head out 6-7 hours, you can really dry it out like the stuff you get in the store. So if you bring something like that, that's kind of like merging tactic 1 with our bridges here, where it's like, maybe, see, we can always have a plan B, right? We can try this stuff out at work, and maybe this point is like, what is our plan B? What if we are getting into work and we're trying to do it, and our mindset is we want to be fasting, but do we have a fallback? See, if you have some pumpkin seeds or a beef jerky or something there, and it's like, okay, I was going to eat the donut at work, but look, I've got a fallback. Like, I can't handle the stress. I need to eat something. Instead of tripping in like I've done and end up eating 3 donuts because I ate 1 and then I couldn't stop. And it's just like, do we have a fallback where it's something like this? If you head back and you eat a hard-boiled egg, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's giving you a space. I'm filling up. I'm eating something. So it's a bridge. We say we made it. Maybe you can't do the whole marathon all at once, but it's like, how far can we make it? And then we got our fallback, and see if that is helpful. Okay, tactic 4, creating a reward for ourselves or delaying a reward for ourselves. And I just put this quote in that I have been going back to a lot because I just love it. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, from Viktor Frankl. And so think about this space that we're in at work. Think about the struggle or wherever we're at in life, whereas like we're in between these worlds of stress and food and then trying to move forward in a way. There's a stimulus, right? The stressor is like this stimulus to say, we're trying to eat, right? But then the response is the eating. But now there's a space between that happens. What is happening there? And really, we're just trying to get in there. Think of like a crack in the sidewalk, you know, it starts tiny, but then the water gets in and then freeze again. And it just, you get a little foothold in there and then you can break something open. So this is what we're trying to do. Get in between the stimulus and response. And this is really, I think, the mindset of how we break these things open. Okay. Yeah. Shift the dopamine, right, is what we're trying to do. So that dopamine is this feel-good chemical. It's giving us the reinforcement. It's saying like, oh, this is good. And it's like, we're stressed. Don't we want something to feel good? Say, oh, if I eat this, I'm going to feel better. And then it does, right? And so, but this is that space. Want to shift. This is how we start breaking it apart. If we say we have a reward, the reward in the moment. I'm at work, I stress, eat the thing. There's no delay. The space is minimal. So we're trying to say, what does shifting the reward look like? I put down here, choose the reward that's in here. Maybe turkey bacon is the reward. Maybe turkey bacon is the snack, the thing that you bring. You know, there's another thing that you can bring with you. Easy. Doesn't require a lot of prep, you know. Do you have a break? Do you have a minute where you can get away at some point that isn't right in a space where it's like something is there that you want to eat, right? And can you set a timer for 5 minutes, right? It would be the way to start. Stress is there. Now we're recognizing it, right? Because we're doing the hard work. Like we said at the beginning, we're standing up in the middle of it. Like, you know, these would be absolutely places to journal. Where is the difficult spot? Now we're seeing it. Now awareness is there. Say, oh, this is the cycle starting right here because I feel the stress coming on. Okay, can I delay it? Do I get a break where my plan B is? And can we start to widen that space out just a little bit? What it might look like if we're widening that out quite a bit is it gets till after the shift. And this would be the progression. Can we give ourselves mini rewards? Maybe it's a piece of dark chocolate that we keep in the locker. Maybe it's, you know, you pick your thing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't even have to be good, like a good thing exactly. We're just practicing shifting the timing of it because we're trying to break the thing. Because we don't want this dynamic to be set up like this one, where stress equals eat right now. Okay, we don't want that. We got stress in its place, keeping our fasting window in its place. I like how this says, visualize the reward, right? So in this moment, instead of like just stress, eat, we want to say stress, visualize eating, okay? Stress, I've got my reward. And maybe that's going to be a delicious meal that we're making when we're back, or maybe it's a treat that we keep in the car that's like, okay, I'm going to get to it, and then we have it there. But like bring some of the enjoyment, the future experience of eating it, just recognize like, hey, look what I'm doing right now. I've already planned this out, and I'm going to be having this thing. And can the thought of it get you through the moment as much as doing it? That's what I would say. Delaying and giving yourself rewards, and be a real reward. Give it something you really like. Say, hey, if I make it through this amount of time, I'm going to have this. And then that can be the thought. And then, you know, here's like the secret is like, you can have it anyway, even if you don't make it, you know, it's like, say, because you gave it your best shot, right? And you want to give yourself positive reinforcement as much as possible. Say, I gave it my best shot. I'm giving myself my reward anyway, and we'd try again tomorrow, you know, if that works for you. Tactic 5, we are moving on. do be thinking about what tactics are your favorites. What are you going to try? What are you going to bring through? These last couple tactics I really love. Okay. Make your thoughts and your feelings objective as much as possible. So I say get a dedicated work journal, and there's a couple different ways that you could do it that we'll talk through. Work journal is, it's not everything else in life. It's just like a focused thing for this specific issue. And it might be a mini journal. You can buy like this, maybe it's like a notebook, like something small that you can put in a pocket. Maybe you get one of those little golfing pencils, not a big, giant pencil is like awkward, but one that is just, tiny that you can pull this out. I'm a big, I just love getting stuff on actual paper, maybe a pen is the answer, especially if you can get a small one. You can do this on a phone, of course, if you have a phone, but something to actually write it out. I'm a huge fan of. What if you wrote this thought out? I am stressed. The food is right there, but I am choosing to think one thought over the other. That was the phrase we did from the session last week that we titled The Most Powerful Weapon Against Stress. Because that was the quote, right? That the most powerful, is that what he said? The most powerful weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over the other. And so we are here in this moment. The stress is here. The food is here. This is like level 10 stress. Can we just write it out? Can we write it out instead of eating it out? This is the thing, to just the actual difficulty of it. And if it takes too long to write a sentence like that, can you get a word? Is there one word? Maybe I put that down in the question. What is one word you could write or think, right? Maybe just having the journal there that you could write it, but work is so busy you can't even get it to write it. But can you think about it? Does having it as a tangible thing that you could write help you to think the thought in it? These are ways to make the feelings objective, to keep them from racing around in here and to try to get them out. And this can be very helpful. Here, this one, transition from being a venting tool, which is how I would say to start. Venting is just a very fine thing to do. Venting into a journal instead of venting through like stress eating is like the totally the thing. And so it's a fine place to start, but then what it builds into is it builds into a record of victory. And this is such a beautiful thing. Like if you've been stuck in a cycle like this, you're going to work or coming home, going to work, coming home, always the struggle is there. It just kind of floats into this, big thing. But all of a sudden, if you have a record, like, oh, here I am struggling with it. Here's what I wrote right in the moments. Oh, look what I did. Here I did this, and here I did this, and that was Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And like, look at Thursday here, like I really, then you can see the small wins, like made it through the first break into like this time, before I really felt overwhelmed. You see, oh, I'm widening that space, I'm doing the work, and you can use the tool. Maybe this is the most important part, to be able to give yourself encouragement and just to realize like, hey, look, I'm a human being here. I'm in a difficult place, and look at what I am doing. Love this thought. Absolutely. Maybe you can carve out space on a break or at lunch or whatever it is at work. 100% of focus, or really enjoy it. Maybe this is a cycle after it is past. Whatever has happened, good or bad, say we're going to reflect on it and we got something positive. I want people to have the very most positive, healthy relationship with food. And food is a joyful, positive thing. And so this is the balance that we find, because that's true. And food can also be such a struggle and a difficulty. And so we are trying to bring everything into balance and find the space that balances these two positions. But I love that. Can you bring a journal into a stress space? And what else could you use if that wasn't practical? I'd just say, here's my little fasting stone, right? To me, like, some sort of object. Journal could be an object, has incredible value because You can write thoughts into it, and a stone, you can't write thoughts into it, but you can hold it, Everybody got a different work environment, and if you are in a work environment, you say, I don't have the physical ability to carry things on me. I do not have space. Let's just go, go, go. And, something tangible that you can hold to put your intentions and thoughts into. They say, even if I can't write it, here's something objective. This is a fasting stone. And what does that mean? It's just because I call it just for fun, But it's ways to bring meaning into our thing, to center ourselves. Is a journal more professional than a list on the phone? If your fasting journal's on the phone, nobody knows that you're not on TikTok. Nobody knows that you're not, sending a text to somebody. And so does a journal actually look more professional, a little notebook? And people say, what are you doing? It's like, I'm just taking notes to better my work performance. You can make it's like, and people are like, it's very clear. You're not on social media or something. So it can be nice that way. Tactic 6, now we're driving deep into things that I really care about here. Lean into breathing, right? Breathing, we've talked a lot about on the channel. I've led us through breath sessions. I have talked about box breathing as kind of my core kind of go-to. Done some talk about kind of a double inhale where we're really doing a deep breath and then incorporating that in. And if you think about really difficult spaces, people dealing with pain and huge amounts of stress. You talk to NFL quarterbacks playing in front of millions of people. They are dialing in on the breath. You think about how are we getting through labor and just difficult things. Okay, just keep breathing. Okay, and so even in the very most intense experiences of life, okay, we can breathe through it. And so maybe this is the thing. It might actually be one of the most intense and important times in life, right? To be able to flow through a space, eating the way we want, since it's so central to our metabolism. Can breathing help us in that space? I say it absolutely can, because a deep breath is the off switch for the stress response in the body. When stress is coming in, maybe we can't stop the stress. It's there, but how do we cope and deal with it in a way that helps the body to retain a hormonal balance? Because we've gone through on the channel that chronic stress response always happening, sending that constant cortisol message, telling the body things are not okay. This is what leads to inflammation in the body. It starts up so many negative cycles. So we are talking about the negative cycle of stress eating, but do you see then that cycle is one of the drivers that is driving inflammation in the body and so many other things. So if we're trying to get way upstream of so many health problems and difficulties, I'll just tell you, a deep breath is getting way at the core of it. Amazingly, how can something so simple that we just do without even thinking of, okay? But this is the whole idea of simple fasting, bring everything. We've got complex problems, oftentimes people looking for complex solutions, but so many of the times, simplicity, the simple, is actually what is bringing clarity to complexity. And a deep breath is the off switch, tells the parasympathetic system to turn on, tells the sympathetic system shutting off. So the adrenal glands stop shooting out all the cortisol, help the blood pressure, the blood sugar, the stress level. Bring focus into the body, stop racing thoughts. These are the types of things that can happen in even a single deep breath. Take a big, why don't we right now? Why don't we just take a single double inhale breath together like this? As high as you can go, and then what you notice, little pause, then the lungs will stretch out and you'll be able to get more in. Top it off, an extra 5%, really stretch that out. And that's the bigger you make that inhale, the more stretch you're giving to the lungs, the stronger the signal you're sending in. Those things are really okay. And so even if you can only take one deep breath at work, before you grab the thing, oh, Dr. Z said take a deep breath. Okay, this is the little crack in that space. We're widening the space. The breath is happening. We're really stretching it out. Maybe within that breath, enough signal flows out. Picture the stress going out, right? These are all the things. Can you think in that thought, oh, we just stretch that out an extra 4 seconds? Can I get out of this space? Right? Can I just leave that be? I'm going to walk somewhere else. I'm going to do something else. Can that be the start of it? Even a single deep breath. Telling the body everything is okay in this moment. Absolutely. It is, right? When do you take a deep breath? Only when everything is okay. So even if everything is not okay, you're an RN and you're on the floor and the shift is happening and the chaos is happening and there's 3 patients to see and the charge nurse is saying this and the calls and the doc is here yelling here and this person's, oh man, a deep breath. Okay, deep breath. Breathe through the hunger, breathe through the stress. Maybe is this the most important tactic? I don't know. I love them all, but this one I ultra love. I really do. Tactic 7, here we are getting to the end. Ask for help, okay? It is very hard ever in our life to ask for help, and don't we have a culture that it does not support it? And don't we feel like asking for help is a validation of our weakness? And isn't that part of how it can set up cycles that are so hard to get out of, because it can be hard to be objective and hard to get out of things. And we aren't really meant to, I think, solve all of problems on our own, but then we think that we are, and we think that we have to be as strong as possible to do it. So very, very difficult to do. And that this is the trouble, because when we ask for help, it is a vulnerability, as like, we are opening it like, I don't have this, and so, there's a certain amount of that we say, oh, there's risk there, because we might ask for help and we might not get it. And maybe we are not in a healthy work environment, and maybe you can't do it if you are not in a thoughtful environment, Thinking the thought about it, being open to it, finding the avenues, maybe that is here, right? So asking for help here, absolutely. Ask it wherever you can get it. But if we have the mindset to do it, I say if it's practical in your workspace to ask for help, because like we said at the beginning, this is very common, and it is... people don't like to talk about it, and everybody likes to look like they've got their stuff together, and so we can be kind of struggling on our own, when it could be that other people in your environment are struggling with the exact same thing. And if we open it up, and like, just here would be some ways to think about it, like, hey, do you ever struggle with this? Like, hey, what do you think about this? Or just to say it like, man, I am really having trouble with this, and just think you don't have to say it 100 times, but like, if you put it out there and other people are like, oh, me too. And like, all of a sudden, if we have a bit of vulnerability, like, can we end up finding coworkers, other people in our environment? If multiple people start to realize we're all struggling with the same thing, can we work on this together? Are there ways that we can either change something about this environment to make it better in some way? Or can we at least, with our own combined human spirit, support each other in the space? Like, if there are ways in it, this could be a huge unlock. They're like, look, we are all have to be here. We're trying to do this job, but like, we also want to be healthy, and we have these goals, and we recognize together. So sometimes asking for help can be the thing that can really unlock, some stress too, and to try to bring some love and light and fun, to it. Everybody's situation going to be different. But you say, how do you change an environment where, like, if we're working around food all the time, like our food service workers we saw in the photo in the beginning, like, if the other people can change the stress in some way. Maybe it can't always, but in case it can, sometimes it can. So sometimes it can. I say, just to kind of close some of these thinking. So we got 7 tactics. I say, plan these things. Take some of these. I wrote a couple scenarios of what it might look like. Have you experienced this, right? Automatic thinking. Stress happens. We did in the fall, Thinking Fast and Slow playlist, realize, okay, we've got the cortex layer, the very conscious layer, and then we got the sub layers that everything is happening under the surface. And stressful moment, we can just shift in. Have you ever experienced this? Like all of a sudden you're eating something, you never really thought about it, right? So it's like these things can just happen in a way. And so preloading these decisions, there's a lot of practices. People teach visualization practices. We were talking about that earlier, and the tactic of like visioning our reward in the future, bringing that benefit into the present. So people in very high stress scenarios, like mentally practicing it, trying to help, build the groove of this thinking. So when we get to this thing, so take your context, make your own scenarios. Practice those scenarios in the mind so that when you get to them, you've got some history. Oh, yep, we practiced this. Here's how we're going to make the decisions. Here's some example. If my boss is yelling at me, then I will walk back and drink my soothing thing of bone broth. This just be one example from our thing. Put in your, fallback plan for whatever it is at work, okay? Because I've dealt with plenty different jobs I've done in my life. People, there's angry people everywhere, right? And it can be really stressful. So game plan, how are you going to do it? So you're not just hanging out there in the moment looking for something. You've got it planned out. If someone puts a box of donuts in the break room, then I will go write something in my pocket journal. Okay, I love that one. And because this is what I struggle with the most, at my old clinic. It's like new Dr. Z fasting clinic. I don't have to struggle with that. Okay, thank God. We got no donuts at Simple Fasting HQ. Keep the pocket journal there. I would write into it, not walking in the break room today. Okay, I just walk. Don't do it. If I feel overwhelmed and I want to stress eat, then I will pop a peppermint mint or go brush my teeth. I just thought this was fun to kind of put at the end. You can't really go eat something after you brush your teeth, right? They got that sodium lauryl sulfate if you got one of those. I'm not convinced that stuff's good, but that's what knocks out your taste. And for this thing, you go brush your teeth, you're not going to want to eat some sort of other thing. A peppermint mint, okay, you could OD on peppermint mints. And so if you're going to get a peppermint mint, because you can't eat much after a peppermint, right? Like that, it's going to kill it. I would never eat a donut after a peppermint anyway. And so if you get, I would say no artificial sweeteners. That would be my recommendation. Get a real sugar one if you got a thing. Ideal, it would be a little one. But 5 calories of sugar on a mint, if it kept you from eating, 2 treats that you really didn't want, it could be the type of thing that could get you through. And like the quote, like I said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And if a mint gets you through, or a gum, or like whatever the crutch is, there's another sort of thing. It can be just fine if it fits the vibe for where you are. So make your examples of your scenarios about how you get through these spaces. You are welcome for this topic. I love thinking about this topic. Maybe we do more sessions on it. At work listening right now. Yes, crushing it. That's awesome. These are some tips I can really follow. Videos helpful. Hey, really wonderful to have you in this space. Thank you for the email the other day. And mug is coming to you. So mugs for viewers. This is I'm excited about this. I like this. I ordered up a case of mugs. I got them over there in the corner. I got a bunch of these. If you would like to grab a mug and join us, Fasting Space is just, it's very simple. There's no quotes or nothing. It just says Simple Fasting, which I like. Very clean aesthetic. And that's the kind of vibe for this, that simplicity is the way forward. And so if you're having a coffee or tea at work or at home or a thing, does having a beautiful, sleek, simple fasting mug help to bring some more intention and presence and say, oh, look what I'm doing. This is Fasting Space. Send me an email, drzee@simplefasting.com. I am not a logistics expert. So now that I have put this out there, now I'm getting all my packing stuff and figuring out how to do it so it's not broken when it gets to you all. But I'm having fun with this. I'm putting my email in the chat. Okay, shoot an email. Free mugs for everybody. If this blows up in some big thing, okay, and there's thousands of people, oh, well, supplies last. Okay, so we'll see. But happy to send those out. I get them out in the next couple days. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I would carry on this topic. So what I would say for this session, take these topics. We got 7 and probably some bonus tactics in there. Implement some of these things, try them out, work on them, and then come back and share your experience with them, good and bad. What tactics are working? Where is struggle still happening? And, to me, the big vibe that I want on the channel, I want everything reality-based. I don't want anything pie in the sky. It's like perfect scenarios. We're just dealing with real life and diving deep on it. And, this is the big idea of simple fasting for me, is it's, I did a fasting research study at the university, everything tightly controlled to an insane degree. And we say, okay, that's great, but life isn't some tightly controlled process. Life is, it's messy, and it just is. It is what it is. And if there is to be real value in a fasting process, which I just am 100% convinced, there's incredible, deep, real value. But you have to be very thoughtful about it and to maintain it in the long term. And I've worked with people over a decade who have been able to bring fasting principles into their life and have tremendous benefit. Tremendous benefit. This is what I want for everybody. I want tremendous benefit to people. Okay, you have to build a very strong foundation for that, and we have to find the ways of flowing through every obstacle. This is why I'm bringing books, Overcoming Obstacles, really digging deep on our thinking, because these are the things that help us to actually do it. And I'm going to continue doing that. I want to be here as a resource for you to help you do that. So really appreciate you being here. I'm looking forward to being back with you soon. Have a beautiful day, everybody.